Happy 11/14, November 14th, 2024, everybody. My name's Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio, and we have a guest that we originally had on 2 days ago. We had a tech problem. The show bloop stopped right in the center for as we were getting started, so I got Ashley back here today. Hopefully we're going to have a smooth sailing show. Ashley Buchel, my guest today, is a K-12 instructional coach for Fairfield County, that's Fairfield County, South Carolina, school district, okay? She's in Winsboro, South Carolina, which, if I read my maps correctly, okay, is kind of in the center of the state, a little bit up north. And she's got 15 years of experience in education, and she's taught in several states and also out of the country. And we're going to talk about how she leverages technology in her role as a K-12 instructional coach, okay, to provide equitable learning experiences, okay, for the kids she works with. And she wrote a wonderful article, which I have linked here, in Ed Circuit, okay, and it's just linked if you want to click through and read it, but we're going to talk about that today. So I hope you go over, check out everything we're doing over at ace-ed.org, and that's where we're going to archive this show, and I'll say good morning, Ashley. Hi, Ash. How you doing today?
Good morning, Larry. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure indeed, and it was my pleasure on Tuesday, 2 days ago, and unfortunately we had that little tech glitch, but I think we're going to be just fine today. Okay?
Awesome. Sounds great.
Sounds
yes.
good to me. Okay. You know, in the article, I was starting to ask you this. In the article, you described yourself, if I'm not forgetting, as a nomadic teacher, like a nomad. Okay. And
yes.
Talk to me. What's your home state? I know you started teaching in Texas. You're in South Carolina now. So where did it all begin? Talk about yourself for a little bit.
Yes. So actually, I am from South Carolina, and I began my career here in South Carolina. I like to consider myself a nomadic educator as I've worked in like 5 different districts across my state. As you just mentioned, I spent a year in Dallas, Texas, and then I spent 6 years working in Kuwait. What I find in education are educators that like start teaching, stay in the same school, stay in the same district. And I seem like an outlier at times, being that I've moved around. So I consider myself a nomadic educator.
I got a lot of questions about that, but I don't want this to pass so quickly. Talk about 6 years in Kuwait. Did you teach with the Armed Forces School, or what were you doing there? That's interesting.
I did not. I actually worked in a private international school, K-12. Kind of got there. I had a friend that was already there, kind of recruited me over, and got there, loved it, and stayed until the pandemic hit.
Wow, that is fantastic. What's Kuwait like? Did you really love it over there? I've never been there.
I actually did, but like being immersed in a new culture, it was so exciting, lots of travel experiences. The people were just amazing. I had a great time.
Yeah, look what you bring to the kids. Okay, in Winsboro, all that experience, and I bet a lot of teachers, and given any given district, Winsboro included, don't have that kind of experience. A lot of them, like you said, just get into a school district and stay. Nothing wrong with that, but you bring this world, you bring the world's experience to the kids, and suddenly the world opens up to the kids. Okay, you can talk to them about Kuwait, and they'll say, what, where, who, what, when, and all of a sudden, you were there, the person right in front of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's made me a stronger educator. In terms of like just being a teacher, I have the experience of seeing different districts, different places, do teaching and learning in different ways. And like you mentioned, yes, I've done a lot of traveling. I can bring that into the classroom. So, I definitely think it's made me a stronger educator.
And you know what's interesting is you taught continuing the differences. You taught in Dallas ISD. Okay, that's a huge school district. Okay, and now here you are in not to be insulting, little tiny Winsboro, South Carolina. That's quite I don't know how little and tiny it is. I'm just saying that. Okay, but it's very different from we're going to find out from Dallas. Okay,
you know what it is.
Yes.
in terms of like the landscape and all that, it's very different. But you know what I've learned over my years? Everywhere you go, like teaching and learning is the same. You know, like
yes,
the setting is different.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that.
You know what?
By the way, I live in a little town called Cornish, Maine, where the town has 1,200 people. Okay, or maybe 1,500 now. Okay, so believe me, when I say little tiny, I get it. Okay, I get it. You know, so what's Winsboro like? Okay, what's the demographics of the town, the kids you teach, etc.? You're K-12. What's the school district like? Fairfield.
So the school district is small but mighty. You know, we boast this year, we have the National Association of Secondary School Principals High School Principal of the Year, Dr. Tracy Sweely.
Wow,
we can also boast
great.
boast in Winsboro that, you know, we have the first teacher village of our kind. So to combat the teacher shortage, we have to rely on recruiting international teachers, and we are the first in our area to provide housing for our teachers. So, yes, Fairfield, we are small, but we are mighty.
I'm very impressed. Right? This is really cool. How long have you been there?
This is my first year, so I have not been there long.
Lucky them.
Yes, just joining the team.
Let's leave it at that. Lucky them. All right, they got a winner here. Okay, I got to tell you, and I want you to explain. This is always important to the audience. What are the demographics of the district? I mean, you're a K-12 teacher, but what are the demographics? So people know what you face every day.
So our demographic is, most of our county. We are very small, like you mentioned. Our class sizes in the different schools that we have are small. Our students, we have a mixed demographic in terms of ethnicity, lots of farmland out here, lots of middle class, working class people. Yes, sir.
That's really cool. Is there one big industry out there like a Subaru plant or something like that, or is it mostly agricultural?
You know what? I am still getting used to the area, and I'm not quite sure. I do know there are a couple of plants out this way, and there are a lot of farms. But in terms of, like, general population, I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still learning.
That's cool. And I'll tell you, you will learn, but it's a nice reflection of the community to see how the demos come up because, and I live in a very small community, as I said, okay? And although we're about an hour from Portland, Maine, a lot of the kids never even see Portland, Maine, okay? They're just country kids, all right, rural kids. And it makes a big difference how you go about teaching these kids, et cetera, et cetera. And you're using technology, and I want to get into this, and I want to thank my friends at Discovery, Steve Wakefield, for introducing me to you, okay, and bringing you on, because it's a great title that you had in your Ed Circuit article, leveraging technology to provide equitable learning experiences, okay? Why'd you name it that? Talk about that. What are you trying to do?
I just want educators to realize that, honestly, it kind of stemmed from conversations around structured literacy, how we are moving from balanced literacy to structured literacy. And structured literacy, our students have to be well-versed in their vocabulary. They have to have a lot of background knowledge. Well, if we think about students in rural areas, some of the content that they see in their textbooks and on assessments and just in learning in general, they have never been exposed to. If we have a math question on, distance and time on the subway, they're going to have a harder time grasping that just because they're not exposed to a subway. So just making sure that we have technologies in place to fill that gap and fill that need and make it more equitable is just awesome.
Yeah, it really is, and it's really so important. And I want you to talk about this, and I'm going to go over to your article here. Let me just click it open. I have it right here. Okay. You brought up, and I want to make this clear, this is not a Discovery Education advertisement, but you use it. By the way, I did a show with the director of their Career Tech Connect yesterday, okay, Katie Lazowski. So you brought up Discovery Ed's Career Connect, which I really like, okay. National Geographic's Explore, okay, virtual reality. Magic School, which I wasn't familiar with, VisuWords, and ThingLink. And these are the things in your article that you're using, okay, to get what I want to say, the worldly learning of the kids out there.
Yes. When I think about Career Connect, I just thought, man, I wish when I was in the classroom this was available.
Yeah.
So many conversations lately have been, we have to make learning rigorous and relevant. And I think in education we've done a good job. I think we've done a good job in, grasping the rigor, but I still feel like we're missing out on the relevant. It's relevant because how are we going to use it in the real world? And I love how Career Connect can build that gap. Yes, you're learning about geometry, and if you want to be a basketball player, maybe geometry isn't that relevant. But hey,
yes,
if
it
you're
is.
thinking about architecture,
make sure the kids know it is. Math is
right.
I've seen literally curriculums built on basketball to teach math. Okay, I've actually seen that. Okay.
If it's relevant
you brought
to
it
the
up.
kids.
At the NSTA, maybe 8 years ago now, there was a guy who invented a basketball that does math as you're shooting it to show you how angles work and all that sort of thing. Okay, so you are dead on right. The kids want to go into the NBA. They don't understand angles. They aren't going anywhere. Okay, end of discussion.
Right.
They got to understand.
Right.
You got to make it relevant. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting you would bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love how Career Connect can bring that in. So, yes, maybe they can see how geometry is related to basketball or architecture. So, yeah, Discovery Ed with the Career Connect. And also Magic School AI, the use of artificial intelligence. Yeah, so this site is using AI to help teachers create lesson slides, make lesson plans, to create relevant content. Maybe you want to link in what you're teaching in science and social studies to what you're doing in reading, but you can't find an authentic text for your students.
Wow.
You can go into Magic School AI, create a text, push it out for your students. So I love how Magic AI is really being a think partner for teachers.
And I'm going to ask you this, and this is a question that's all through education, okay? You're the K-12 instructional coach. You're helping kids, you're helping teachers develop curriculum, develop interesting classroom experiences, et cetera, et cetera. AI, and I think this is quickly changing, but AI scares a lot of people in education. A, like everybody, they weren't trained for it. And B, they're scared it's going to take their job. C, they're scared the kids are going to use it to cheat, so to speak. All right? And as you say, as you bring something like Magic School, which is AI, how are the teachers relating to that? You're the instructional coach. You're bringing this to them.
I think with everything new, it takes time to first get a full grasp of what is it and how can I use it? And then it also takes time to become comfortable with it. But, for example, in Fairfield County where I am, our schools and class sizes are so small that there may often be just one teacher per grade level, right? So in large populations in large cities where there are 5 first-grade teachers and they can all sit down and have a PLC and collaborate together, in rural settings where teachers are by themselves, they, don't have that upper hand of having a think partner and a collaborative space, right? But tech such as Magic School AI with the use of artificial intelligence, that becomes a think partner for a singleton who may be by themselves and not have that collaboration. So that's another reason why I think it's so important to have ed tech such as Magic School AI.
Yeah, ed tech and AI I mean, this is all, and yet, the interesting thing about it, Ashley, is it's all happening so fast. All right, it's hard to keep up with it all. I mean, just when you think you got it, something new pops in. Okay, and we have to be able to take advantage of that and be very clear about that, because the kids, if I may, of course they're younger, tend to be ahead of us. Okay, as educators, they're comfortable from the age of 3, but with being on a screen. You know, and my wife tutors. Actually, she helps tutor reading to a couple of second graders. Okay, down in South Carolina. I just realized South Carolina. Okay, she works with a group called She works with a group, which is a very lovely group called Freedom Readers, and they're based in South Carolina. You might want to check into that if you want to. Okay.
I will.
Feel free. They help kids. Freedom Readers. I just realized it was South Carolina. I didn't put that together. I was putting together the show. But my point is, she's tutoring second graders, and she tutors them remotely, and she has no problem. Okay, they're screen to screen. Obviously, she's up here in Maine, they're down there, but the kids feel very comfortable in front of a screen. Okay, and when teachers have to understand that, you know, the role of the educator using technology has changed a great deal, and you can bring, like I think you said it in your article, you can bring, if you live in Arizona, you can climb Mount Everest. Okay,
exactly,
and you know, kids don't even understand. Your kids in South Carolina probably even never saw snow. Okay.
Right.
And if they want to, please give them a shovel and send them to Maine this winter. I'm happy to have them shovel my lawn. Okay. It's just amazing. Yeah, it's just crazy. You know, but the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
I do think that.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say yes. I agree. Technology definitely deserves a place in the classroom, not only because it helps engage students, but it's where our future is going, and kids are our future. So we've got to, as educators, become more comfortable with using and having the students use and thinking of more innovative ways to use the technology, because it's 2025 in a few weeks.
Incredibly. I'm getting too old to handle this. Okay, it is 2025 in a couple of weeks. You know, you brought up something else interesting a few minutes. Well, everything you said has been interesting, but you brought up about rural teachers. Okay, you taught in Dallas. That's a big school district. It's a big urban school district. Okay, and you taught in Kuwait. Also, you bring a lot of experience in there. Now, your first year in a rural school district, and to me, rural education it's getting perked up now, but it's been overlooked for too long a period of time. Okay, and I live in a rural area. All right, you got to do something. Talk about the difference that you see between kids in rural education and kids in urban education. Okay, and that's another part of the whole technology thing, bringing the world to these kids. What's your thought on that? Technology in rural versus technology in urban?
You know, I think that the difference that I see is really just the exposure to the different technologies. You know, my students out in Winsboro may or may not have been exposed to, you know, a VR headset. Whereas in an urban setting, you know, you walk down the street from the school, there may be a whole VR gaming place that they can go and experience it, you know? So, yeah, so I think just the exposure is not there in the rural setting, and, you know, we really have to lean on the technology to bring that exposure to the rural area.
Yeah, we really do. And I'm curious, and I know you're K-12. I don't know what grades you're specifically addressing, but what are you finding that the kids want to do with their lives? Okay, now I know the little ones don't have that thought yet, but the older kids, are they mostly looking at college? Are they mostly looking at farming? Are they mostly looking at the trades, becoming electricians, plumbers, or do they want to become scientists? Is there a pattern at all?
You know, in my current district, I'm still very new, but from what I see, we do have a We do have a technology center in our district that, exposes students to trade prior to, and I do believe that a lot of our students graduate and go on to different trades. A lot of them are headed to college as well. I think that technology really can help students figure that piece out, though.
I agree.
I want to go to a trade? Am I more lean? There's so many different tech pieces out there that can really help them hone in on what they want to do and figure it out, which is why it's important to have that, again, in rural areas.
And when the kids were on Career Connect, maybe this is the way I should have asked the question. When the kids were on Career Connect, what careers were interesting them the most? I mean, a lot of kids find that. What do they find fascinating? Like, oh my God, I could become a space scientist. Oh my God. Well,
you know what? I have not actually seen that happen in the classroom as an instructional coach. I spend a lot of my time, more or less supporting teachers and doing work at the district level. So I have not yet seen it in the classroom setting, but I would imagine that anything on there is going to be very exciting. I have a second grade daughter at home, and honestly, we were talking we were talking the other day. I brought up architecture earlier because that's what we were discussing, and she was like, "Wow, I never even heard of that before." So honestly, wow. I think anything that's out there on Career Connect, the students will be interested in.
I agree with you. And I was talking to them yesterday, and I was telling Lisa, I was saying, Lisa, science is great. I love it, STEM and all that sort of thing. But nobody can find a plumber or an electrician. Okay, and they should get the union, like the National Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. It's the giant national union, and get them involved and showcase what it's like to be an electrician, which is a great career. Okay, it's so much fun out there to see what we need and how these kids can make money and get a great job. I mean, to me, it's just all so important, and we got to use the technology. Okay, and that was one of the problems. We didn't have this 20 years ago, but we got it now. We got it now.
Absolutely.
It's just.
I'm finding that some students know things that I don't even know. I had some elementary students the other day ask me about coding, and I'm like, man, I am behind the times. I've got to sit down and teach myself how to code because the kids know it, but I haven't learned it. So absolutely.
That's great. Yeah, well, my nephew, when he was in high school, this is years ago, he was running the technology department at the school. Okay, he's one of the students, and him and a bunch of kids are running the technology department. This is, before we got to technology directors and all this sort of stuff, and that was at a small town in Texas. Okay, it's just amazing the way all this is changing, and the teachers have to be well aware of it. Where were you teaching last year? Were you in South Carolina?
Yes, I was in a different district right here in the Midlands of South Carolina. Our capital is Columbia. We consider the areas around the capital the Midlands. So yes, I was here in the area.
Okay, that's cool. And now Fairfield County was lucky enough to get you. Okay, this is good stuff, and I know you really care, and I know you care about the equity thing. And the equity thing is giving each kid the technology allows us to do this, to give each kid the education they deserve. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Okay? And the technology allows you to do it. It's good stuff. Okay, so how do the teachers like their new instructional coach? I bet they love you.
I hope they do. I'm bringing a lot of passion. So, yes, I hope they do.
I'm sure it's a wonderful school. It sounds the way you described it with the principal of the year and all that sort of superintendent of the year. It's really, it's a lovely district in a good part of the world, I got to tell you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was very excited to join the team. I feel like Fairfield is on the brink of change and really just doing very innovative things. And so I was so excited to join that because being a change educator is definitely my passion. And so, I'm excited to do the work.
And not only a change educator, and I'm serious about this, you bring the world to them. A lot of teachers teach around where they grew up, which is just fine, of course, because they love where they grew up. But you got to bring in people from other places to show that there's a lot of things doing out there, Kuwait being one of them. Okay?
Absolutely.
I mean, just the fact that I think it's just great. Thank you for being here today, Ash. I enjoyed meeting you. Thank you.
I enjoyed talking to you.
Well, thank you, my dear. I appreciate that, okay? But I want you to have a great school year, okay? And a happy Thanksgiving. It's only a couple of weeks away.
Same to you. Stay warm.
Thank you, my dear. We will try it. If any of the kids want to see what snow is like, send them up here with a shovel. I have no problem.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ashley. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ashley Bushell, everybody. Ashley Bushell. Okay, down in Winsboro, South Carolina. South Carolina's Fairfield County School District. Okay, we got a good one there. Okay, read her article. It's linked here. We're going to archive the show at ace-ed.org. Thank you for being with us today, and stay in touch.